Back. Well, most people tell you that marriage is not easy and it takes a lot of work, like a lot of work.
But our next guest narrows a successful marriage into just one easy step, which is a bit ironic considering her last book was about divorce. We are joined now by Vivian Probst. She is the author of Death by Roses, which was released back in February of this year. We're welcoming her back to the show. And I got to just set the stage for you a little bit before we get to your one secret, because I think people are all at home guessing. Okay, you were married for 10 years initially, so you got married very young.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah. She got married at like 12.
And then, seriously. And then
bride.
now you've been married a second time for 30 years.
Yes.
But here's what's interesting about this second marriage, because we're going to talk about the key to a happy marriage and this adorable letter that your husband wrote for your birthday. But you say, over these last 30 years, you've kept leaving.
Yes. Yeah.
Leaving the relationship.
Yeah.
You call yourself the yo-yo wife.
Yes.
Why?
Because the second marriage is harder than the first marriage. Statistics prove that every time you get married, you're more likely to fail. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But in my second marriage, I was trigger happy, I guess you'd have to call it. You bring a lot of junk with you in your second marriage. Yeah. And so every time I thought, oh, this doesn't feel right anymore, it feels too much like what was going on before, I would just leave. I just would pack and leave a note for my husband and say, I might, I'll probably be back, but I just would keep coming and going.
No way.
Yeah,
thanks,
absolutely.
no thanks.
Yeah, because I just wasn't comfortable in that second marriage. It was so hard.
Was he married before too?
Yes.
But he didn't do this.
No,
was he yo-yoing ever?
No, he would find me. I mean, he would. He just had a sense of where I was going to go, and but mostly he let me leave. That was really important in those days, to let me leave.
And do you both have children?
Yes.
Okay, so children are part of the relationship.
Guys.
You guys are adorable. Okay, so let's get to the meat.
Yeah.
What is the one thing? Explain to us to having a successful marriage.
Yeah, the one thing for me eventually became my stunning recognition that, oh, this is happening again. I don't want this to happen again. So the first thing I did was say, oh, Vivian, maybe you're part of the problem. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like... That's a hard thing to do. But maybe you should try something different. So here's what I did. I decided that my marriage was a mirror. That whatever my husband was saying, especially in the ugly parts, and we don't have that much ugliness, but I mean the parts that really offended me and made me outraged, I looked at those and I started to say, Vivian, honey, do you ever treat yourself the same way that you see out here that your husband is treating you? And I realized that indeed I did. Indeed, I had issues, and I didn't like myself very much. And so it seemed like I kept inviting this issue in, not only in my marriage, but I own a business, and so my employees, I mean, can you imagine this? My employees they'd be kind of like, oh, And so I decided just to experiment with watching what people were saying. And what I was experiencing, taking it in and just asking myself, does this sound familiar? Yeah, this sounds familiar. This isn't just about what's going on out here, Vivian. This is about what's going on in here.
Do you think it was a reflection of how you treated other people or how you treated yourself only?
I'd like to think I treated other people better than I was treating myself. I hope I was. But
we're all really hard on ourselves.
We ultimately, terribly, horribly hard on. So what I did is I started to experiment with this. And so when I saw something adverse coming up in my life, I took it in and I studied it. And I was like, that's reflecting something. Can I tell you a quick story?
Real quick, because we got to get to the red shoes, too.
Oh, yeah. All right. So real quick. I'm an employer, and there came a time after I'd learned this that my employees were complaining about I wasn't paying them enough. So I had learned how to take all this in and wonder if there's anything going on inside of me. So guess what, ladies? So why are they complaining about what they're being paid? And I took it in and I said, wait a minute. Maybe I'm complaining about what I'm being paid. Ding, 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 ding. And I got it. I did. I was not happy with how I was compensating myself. So I gave myself a raise, ladies. And then I took care of my employees, and I was much happier, and the whole world was happier.
What do your red shoes in your closet tell you? What do they say to you?
Oh, they are the best me. They are the most fun about me. And so I think what we often forget about in life is that fun part of ourselves. I think we get used to who we are, and those shoes in our inner closet sit there, and we just don't put them on anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the key that you say to a successful marriage, is remembering the fun parts of ourselves and bringing fun into the relationship.
And yes, absolutely. And oh, do we have fun? We are silly about each other. 30 years, and we are more in love than ever.
Read real quick just one sentence from the letter, because then we got to go.
All right, because it says, this is after my birthday. After all, it is the most important day of my life as well. I can't imagine what it would be like if you had not been born.
What? That's adorable.
Don't ever run again.
Yeah, you need to stick with that guy. That is awesome. Where can people
Vivian,
find your
thanks for
book?
being
And
here.
we want to talk about, too, because you're a strong supporter of the Waukesha Women's Center.
thank
And there's
you.
a fashion show on November 13th. It's a Saturday. You got to check out more information. Give you a chance to talk to Vivian in person, too. Go to twcwaukesha.org, and you can find out more about Death by Roses by going to deathbyroses.com.
Thanks for being here.
It's always fun having you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
The Women's Center 30 years ago picked me up from a marriage that failed and gave me hope. And look at what's happened. I got the book. The book's available everywhere.
It's fantastic.
And you got a good husband.
Oh,
Yep.
did I do well?
You worked it out, girl.
Good for you. Always great to have you. You're
Thanks
so
so
fun.
much.
I love it. Still ahead of